Hey people, CzarThwomp here, and welcome to episode 32 of Ace Attorney Investigations. Last time, we were basically doing some more cross-examining. We were talking to Bad, we saw a little Lang cameo, and we basically determined that the gunshot that Bad heard was because the windows were open and a video was playing, and the surveillance video was playing. Miles, what have you been thinking about? Stop wasting time thinking, and let's start looking again. It's not a waste of time to think, for I figured out what we should do. Where should we look? And where would that be? I believe we should examine the television. My shows are on! The TV? Well, you kids have fun. Go ahead and examine whatever you like. I will rest until I inspect every suspicious-looking nook and cranny. It's a video player, and there seems to be a videotape inside. It looks like it. The tape must have stopped on its own when it reached the end. This tape, could it not be the missing surveillance tape? I suppose, but Detective Bad, would it be alright with you if I read the contents of the video? Sure, knock yourself out. Alright, then let's rewind this and see what we have. If I remember correctly, the footage of Rel killing the embassy staff member should be at about the 30-minute mark from the start of the tape. Darn it! Darn you, Adobe Flash Reader! I hate that. Understood. This should be about right. Now, let's see. This is the footage of Mr. Rel shooting the embassy staff member. I knew it. The missing piece of evidence, the surveillance video, was here all along. This sound. What's the meaning of this? It appears that Detective Bad has figured out the true source of the gunshot he heard. With this, I think we can figure out the trick behind this double murder. Do you mean that you figured it all out then? Yes, all I have to do now is show what the gunshot Detectives Bad and Gumshoe heard was, and through where they heard it from. Fine. In that case, show me what you've got deduced. Now to show what the gunshot Detective heard was, and through where they heard it from. I won't rest until I inspect every nook and cranny. This is what the spill room in lobby number 1. If the windows were open, that piece of evidence sound would be displayed out. Now, to show what the gunshot they heard was, and through where they heard it from. Yes. Is this all connected to any of the evidence I hold? These events will clear away the last remaining contradiction in this case. Miles, I believe that piece may actually be proof of a different last sorts. It proves that today will be your last day as a prosecutor. It appears that I made a mistake. I know that the last riddle and its answer lies somewhere in this room. I need to calm down and think it through once more. Okay. There we go. If the door and the windows to the crime scene, namely this room were closed, the killer could have used the gun and no one would have been the wiser. That's true. The courthouse does seem to be well designed for such a thing, as it were. However, what happened in reality was, Detective Gumshoe, Detective Bad, and Miss Yu, all three of them had the gunshot. Well, the windows in lobby number 1 and 2 and the hallway were open, so naturally the people in those locations could hear it. But then, why would the criminal open the window in the first place? To allow the gunshot to be heard, I suppose. Correct, that's the only logical conclusion we can draw from this. But why was it necessary in the first place? I want a real answer, Miles. I demand satisfaction. Very well, I believe that the killer wanted to manipulate our perception of a certain fact. What was it that the killer wanted to manipulate our perception of? When the crime took place, the killer wanted to fabricate the time of death to their precise wishes, and they used the gunshot in the surveillance camera to do so. So that's why the tape was left running. You mean the gunshot I heard was from this video? Yes, which means that the murders really occurred at an earlier time than we thought. It must have been during the recess, but before Detective Gumshoe was on guard duty. Someone who has no alibi for that time period. and planned this crime out in advance. That person is the real killer. I think we can actually end the case off in this episode. Mr. Edgeworth. Yes, what is it? Miss Yu is asking for you. She's in the courtroom. She says that she's identified the murderer, but that she wants to clarify something. It looks like Miss Yu is still investigating something. And CzarThwomp, don't you put me in the same low bracket as Miles Edgeworth. Understood. Please tell her that I will be right over. I'll come along. I want to hear what she has to say. It would appear that the time has come to uncover the truth. Okay, we're coming down to the end of this case. You can probably guess who the murderer is. But we're going to keep going. We're going to do this case. Okay, 6:15 p.m. District Court, courtroom number 3. Little K comes back. K, what are you doing here?
Oh, hello, mister. I'm still investigating.
But the object you're looking for is already... K, don't mind him. Please continue with your investigation.
Okay, you got it.
Detective Bad, haven't we already found what you were looking for? If it means I can keep her in the dark just a little longer, any little task will do. Oh, you're more sympathetic than I thought! Franziska, that's a lot coming from you. Really? Franziska, a grizzly bear covered in razor blades is more sympathetic than you, Franziska. No offense. Yeah, they gotta take their bench. I've been waiting for you, Edgeworth. I've also been waiting for the moment in which we can finally lay this case to rest. Moment in which we can finally lay this case to rest? Wasn't that when we placed Detective Gumshoe under arrest? I think we've more than resolved this case already. Don't you? We'll see. It all depends on whether or not your logic holds. Oh, I see we even have a view in the gallery. And why, even Mr. Bad's here. A viewer in the gallery? I'm hardly just a bystander. I have a duty to see this case through to the end, no matter how it turns out. Oh, is that right? Anyways, I thought you might like to hear what I've slaved away to find out. I've taken statements on every single person's movements during the time when our suspect was in the hallway. I also found that there is no possible route of escape from lobby number 2. Therefore, the killer must, without a doubt, be Detective Gumshoe. And that's all you have? Yeah, that's all there is to it, my conclusion to this case. Sorry, but I beg to differ. In a trial, there's always time for rebuttal, and we are standing in a court of law. It'd be more than appropriate to follow the rules of court in this case, don't you think? I am doing like a rookie to think such a thing. But alright, I'll play along with and give you a proper testimony. If my logic is correct, then I've already won. All I have to do now is prove it by showing who the real killer is. Why is Edgeworth being trying to be so secretive about it being you? It's obviously you. Everyone sounds the suspect has an alibi for when the gun went off. Furthermore, the areas around the crime scene have all been thoroughly investigated, right? I already confirmed that there is no possible escape route from lobby number 2, which leads us with one unshakable conclusion that Detective Gumshoe is the killer. Phew. Now that you have your testimony, I expect a good rebuttal, Edgeworth. But of course, there's no need to confront her logic head-on right now. I should instead focus on drawing out any trump cards she has up her sleeve. Okay. The suspect, but I thought that Detective Gumshoe's alibi has already been proven. Are you joking, Edgeworth? I assure you this is no joke. Look, I know you heard from the judge earlier that the detective was in the hallway with Mr. Faraday's daughter eating a Swiss roll. Yes, that is correct. But see, that was 20 minutes before the real gunshot went off, right? And the problem is, there's no one else who can corroborate with what he did since he was snacking. I see she's done her research well, which means that I should focus on drawing out whatever trump card she has withholding. Okay, next one. Come on. Whether they have been thoroughly investigated or not is not for me to decide. It's for me to decide. What's wrong with me?
CzarThwomp can barely speak! What the hell is up with you, CzarThwomp? What are you, some noogie?
The scrunched eyebrows and lines on your forehead are back! Anyways, if you believe it hasn't been exhaustive, then the crime scene lobby number 2 has no way out other than the hallway Detective Gumshoe was standing in. And because he claimed to be there, that makes him the only possible suspect. But isn't it also possible that someone escaped through the window into the garden?
What are they, Paper Mario?
That the first place they would look silly. The police aren't a bunch of lazy bums. They looked into every possibility, you know. Isn't it right, Mr. Byrne? Yeah, there wasn't a scrap of evidence to suggest someone used one of the windows. There's also weren't any footprints or anything in the courtyard garden. I suppose they really did check everything that could be related to the case. Hey, are you absolutely positive that there are no possible routes of escape?
Of course I'm sure.
And why are you so certain?
This is a courthouse, the place where criminals are brought to be judged.
If there was an escape route, I'm sure every criminal would be using it to escape. It's just common sense. Miles Edgeworth, I suggest you use a bit more of it in the future. Ah! You may think it's unshakable, but to me there are still too many unanswered questions. For example, who was it that placed the gun in Mr. Faraday's hand?
But you're the only one who's still wondering that.
Detective Gumshoe probably had no idea which hand Mr. Faraday used to write with. Even if you know someone, it doesn't mean you know which hand they write with, right? I mean, I certainly don't care about that sort of thing. I'm not about to let her get a rise at me with such a flippant statement. I suppose we've really reached the end now. I already have my trump card ready. All that remains is to play it. But before I do, I think I should inquire into a little something about her arguments. You said earlier that you confirmed the alibi is of every person other than the suspect. However, I don't recall either Franziska or myself speaking with you about the subject.
Ah, but there were witnesses for you. There's your mentor who gave you an alibi.
I see. As for that little missy, she came to the courthouse during the recess. And was stopped by a security guard at the door of the hallway, who she whipped in the ball sack.
She whipped his scrotum. He still scrotes, and he fell on the ground crying like a little girl, like a weak girl.
He won't be walking straight anytime soon, like one. She didn't quite whipping. Well, that was ever heard. I'm the Dark Manfred von Karma, and I will not be forcibly stopped by a guard or a bail for anyone else. Wait, so basically the only reason why Franziska bothered you up today was because she found out that I was going to be the replacement prosecutor. By the way, Miss Yu, what about everyone's alibis before Detective Gumshoe was assigned to guard?
What about them?
Have you looked into what people were doing during that span of time?
What kind of idiot you take me for?
It don't matter when the killer went to lobby number 2, from the time we heard the gunshot, to the time Mr. Byrne and I arrived on the scene as we dashed from lobby number 1. The only person who could have committed the crime was Detective Gumshoe. Let's talk about you and Detective let's talk about when you and Detective Byrne heard that gunshot, shall we? I suppose that if we go by your logic, then Detective Gumshoe is the only one. However, what if the crime had occurred at an entirely different time than when that gunshot you heard went off? What then? That gunshot was a trap meant to manipulate our perception of when the crime took place. Sadly, your explanation is very lacking, Edgeworth. The gunshot we heard in lobby number 1, can you explain how that could have been fabricated?
Take that!
That tape! Yes, it's exactly what you think it is. This is the surveillance tape of Mr. Rowe, the prosecution presented in today's trial. This was found loaded in the VCR in lobby number 2. That was connected to a live television and its volume turned all the way up. You can honestly mean that the sound we heard was the gunshot in the video. Ah, but I do. Which leads me to my next point. The murders occurred much earlier than anyone heard the gunshot. That's the only thing I can think of too. After committing double homicide, the killer took the surveillance video out from Mr. Faraday's evidence bag, turned on the television's volume all the way up, and let the video play. If played from the beginning, it would take 30 minutes for the gunshot sound to come on. And since we now know that this method of time manipulation is possible, it opens the possibility that the killer is someone other than Detective Gumshoe. Sounds from a television don't amount to much here. But, of course, Mr. Prosecutor Edgeworth and Little Miss Von Karma already knew that much from the very beginning, right? Oh, of course we knew! Didn't we, Miles? Yes, of course. We know about the soundproof quality of this courtroom's rooms. Of course, I'm not going to admit that we had no idea until only a few minutes ago. That's right, and if the rooms are soundproof, then we should not have been able to hear it. And yet, we heard the gunshot clear as day. And that's it, end of story. But it's not. How should I explain why she was able to hear the gunshot from the soundproof room? There was a hole in the wall. I have to say this. There was a hole in the wall that Kool-Aid Man burst forth to serve sugary goodness. Miles, I don't think that such a hole exists, except in your head and your logic. Because if it did, I think the two of them would have noticed the crime going on next door. That's exactly right. Besides, if there's a hole to be found, it's probably in your logic. I was just thinking the exact same thing. Oh, tell you what, Franziska! My side, Miles Edgeworth. I need to carefully think this one through once more. There's a reason as to why they were able to hear it so clearly. Now then. Okay, the window is open. There is actually one common point between lobby number 1 and lobby number 2. And that is that despite the fact that both rooms have air conditioners installed, a window was opened in each. Now we know that the window in lobby number 2 was opened by the killer. However, a window in lobby number 1 was also open. It's more just a coincidence that they were both open at that time. It was no mere coincidence, I assure you. Why was the window open in lobby number 1? The answer to that is a certain person did something to cause the window to be open. And the person who triggered that action, that person is the real guilty party. Oh yes! Time for my pursuit, the Manfred! Manfred is the person. Okay, you. Gotta present you. Miss Callisto, you! I hereby formally indict you for the murder of Mr. Faraday and Mr. Rowe. What? You indict me? Are you serious, Miles? Why do you think she's the killer? I don't understand her motive just yet. But of course I'm serious, because she is the only one who could have done it. Well, Miss Yu, do you still feel like laughing now? Of course I do, Edgeworth. My arguments must not be tight enough yet. Although I never thought things would spiral into this. But I'll have you know I'm enjoying this dance quite a bit. I guess this means it's time for my own rebuttal now. You argue that the window was open, however, do you have proof it was I who did it? Furthermore, do you have proof that the tape was used when committing the crime? Frankly, I'm shocked at you for going around accusing people of murder like this, especially with logic as full as holes as yours. This is really where it starts. I mustn't let my guard down for even a second, or the truth will blow away. Now is the time to put the patented Von Karma perfect proof to the test. Well, we know for a fact that the perfume was used.
Objection!
Boom. Okay, for once I was actually on my A game. I'm sure you've seen this before, haven't you, Miss Yu? Aha! Edgeworth, I never knew you were into wearing that kind of perfume. It's not exactly what I'd recommend for boys, you know. What? This isn't mine! That's right, it's mine, and I received it from Detective Bad, you see. Miss Yu, you can pretend all you like, but we know at least this much for sure, that this ball of perfume was given to Detective Bad by you. Because it gets really strong really fast. So, what about the perfume? While you were in lobby number 1, you made a big show of spilling some of this perfume. Now, that's according to Miss Detective Bad. Oh, I know. You also knew that if you spilled it, you would naturally move to open a window. Come now, I already told you that's all big coincidence. After we opened the window in lobby number 1, I just left it open, you know. So maybe it was just dumb luck that we had the gunshot through the window. The timing of when you were going to spill the perfume is something you could control. And most important fact about this case is when people were made to hear the shot. Rather, already would have been pointless if you didn't have an alibi for yourself at the time. You mean... It's you were the one who called Detective Byrne to lobby number 1. When you saw him bring Detective Gumshoe into the hallway. Is that correct? All of these premeditated events could only have been thought of by you, Miss Yu. You accuse me of murder on the fact I spilled a little perfume? Well, allow me to say this much. I couldn't have killed Mr. Faraday. Would you care to testify as to why? Look, I've had a lot of fun today, really. But I grow weary of this game of cat and mouse. Let's make this the last testimony and wrap up this absurd case once and for all. Why it couldn't have been me? Accusing someone of murder over a spilled bottle of perfume is a bit over the top. I suppose forgery of evidence is to be expected of a type of von karma. In any case, it simply could not have been me who killed Faraday. After all, I don't even know where the knife that was used to kill him came from. Miles, her testimony is flawless! Yes, but no matter what sort of trick she may be trying to pull, she won't escape me! And if I'm lacking information, I'll just draw it out of her! I think I've already explained the significance of that earlier. You only confirmed that I did spill some perfume, but that's all. That you would accuse me of murder based on a simple spill. Don't you dare complain when I sue you for defamation of character. Do as you like, but as for me, I believe that you are the true culprit of this case.
More, you're enthusiastic.
Of course, I should have guessed. How dare you insult my adopted daddy! I formally request that you desist in your attack against my mentor! Yes, or we'll sue you for defamation! All I do is tell the truth, well, maybe more like spreading gossip.
Oh no, you adamant denials are, shall we say, just adding fuel to the fire.
How dare you! Say such a thing! Calm down, little girl. Don't let her get to you.
Oh, did you have to ruin my fun? Well, shall I continue?
Hold it!
At this rate, she will inevitably escape! But if she really was the one who killed Mr. Faraday, then she must have known about the existence of the knife! I'm sorry, Miss Yu. Maybe you weren't aware. However, the knife that was used to kill Mr. Faraday was taken from his evidence bag. Miles! What do you think you're doing? I'm drawing the truth out of her, that's what I'm doing. Huh? But I didn't record a knife being presented in the trial earlier today. Well, I suppose that's because the evidence was something Mr. Faraday had yet to use.
So that's what you're trying to do? Look, why don't you cut it out with the flies? I've already figured it out. There was no knives on Mr. Faraday's evidence bag. The only evidence he had yet to present was the key that Yatagarasu had sent. And unless a key can magically turn into a knife, you really don't have a leg to stand on. And that's how he busted her. She shouldn't have known about the key. Did you really think you could trap me? Come now, be honest. I never intended to do such a thing. It was all a misunderstanding on my part. In any case, I wonder if you might append what you just add to your testimony. Sure, why not? I'll even...
Double R's! Surprisingly enough, investigation does very few typos. Times as you like.
Objection!
Boom. Miss Yu, I wonder if you might take a look at this photo for me. This is a picture of the key that Yatagarasu sent to the police. However, while it may look like a key at first glance, it is in fact has the secret ability to transform into a knife. Which means that what was inside Mr. Faraday's bag was both the Yatagarasu's key and the murderous knife. You knew that the key was inside Mr. Faraday's bag, did you not?
Yes.
Well, with the Yatagarasu key alone, it's more than possible to kill Mr. Faraday. Yeah. Do you understand now? Just knowing of these is the Yatagarasu key.
I still haven't had a good look at it yet. Showing it to me from that far away, you could be lying for I know.
And now you get some foreshadowing, some epic foreshadowing. Remember when you were saying, be careful around criminals? Well, you'll see just in a little bit. You would even now still feign ignorance?
Oh, they anything! But we gotta have you accusing me of a crime with false evidence now, can't we? I mean, Mr. Von Karma, I've heard some very interesting rumors about him.
Are you mocking my papa? Don't you dare sully the good name of my mentor! Now take a good look. This piece of evidence is more than real.
Wow, who knew there was such a trick to this thing?
Are you satisfied now? But of course you knew from the very beginning, didn't you? You knew that the knife and the Yatagarasu key are one and the same. Otherwise, someone like you who isn't a member of law enforcement and who would never have been privy to this trick would never have known about it to begin with. Furthermore, that's something the Yatagarasu sent to the police. How did you have knowledge as to what it was?
Actually, I heard about it from Mr. Faraday. Just before he dragged Mr. Rell off, he told me. Oh, that's right, I almost forgot. He also told me about the key turning into a knife at that time. But he didn't tell me about the key actually transforms.
What are you saying? It's simply not possible.
Oh, and why not?
Because Mr. Faraday himself didn't know about the hidden knife within the key. Well, within these pages, he mentions nothing about a knife.
I'm not sure he would have written everything in his organizer, you know. Wouldn't something of this importance be better left to oral communication?
Unfortunately, that is also impossible, because Detective Byrne didn't know about the knife aspect either. What would have been highly classified information, even within the police force, and is something that even the lead detective on the case didn't know. Why would Mr. Faraday have felt the need to share such information with the opposition?
Yeah, I guess he wouldn't have had much reason to. Looks like I gave a pretty nice shoes up.
How can you laugh at a time like this?
She probably just realized the flaw in her logic and is actually in panic over it. But that's not something we need to concern ourselves with.
I suppose you're right. Miss Yu, I'd like to say that I also know you know the real nature of this knife.
Do you know? Well, why don't you put your mind where your mouth and show me?
Oh, I will. Now wipe that smile off your face by the time we're through. This is it, the moment of truth. The secret behind the Yatagarasu's key. Only one person would have had the knowledge of it from the get-go. Who would know from the start of the Yatagarasu? Who would know from the start that the Yatagarasu's key could change into a knife?
Take that!
There's only one person who could have known about the dual nature of the key.
And that is?
And that is the person who sent the Yatagarasu's key to the police in the first place. That is to say, the Yatagarasu herself.
Are you saying that this lawyer is the great thief Yatagarasu?
Miss Yu, you used Mr. Wells to lure Mr. Faraday into a trap, didn't you? You, who professes to bear a grudge against criminals, why? Why do something like this?
Who would have thought that you, a stupid rookie prosecutor, would see through me? You're sending the biggest chill down my spine right now, Edgeworth. This feeling of thrill. It's even greater than when I snuck into someplace.
You killed Faraday. Why? Well, answer me, Callisto Yu.
Callisto Yu, huh? That's not my real name. Because my real identity is, yes, the great thief Yatagarasu. Let me tell you something, Edgeworth. Mr. Faraday was one difficult man to deal with. For you see, he had discovered my true identity, which is why I had to erase him from the world of law. I made an offer, an acquittal for a little favour in return. All we had to do was accuse Mr. Faraday of beating the Yatagarasu in court. But once he entered the recess, Rell was dragged off by Mr. Faraday.
which threw my plan into a complete mess. I chased after them and eavesdropped on them through a crack in the door. Then that Mr. Rail craves to only two things: money and authority, just as all thugs do. I feared my plan was going to be ruined. Mr. Faraday held on to murder any longer. Plus, if I had let them continue on the way they were, I would have been found out. That's why I had no choice. I had to kill them both. Didn't you say that you despised criminals?
But do I really?
You. Have you forgotten about the KGA incident too?
It might be.
What sort of woman would?
So then, was it your plan to kill Mr. Faraday with the evidence you sent? Well, I had a good idea what Mr. Faraday was going to do. I anticipated that Mr. Faraday was going to prove that Rail wasn't the Yatagarasu while using this Yatagarasu case as evidence, and that he would bring it with him, which is why I thought to use the knife portion. With a weapon as this, no one would be none the wiser. Because who in their right mind would think something like this could be a weapon? I casually entered defense lobby number 2 on the pretext I wanted to talk to Mr. Faraday, and in order to get in with him, I pretended to be worried about something. He then let me hold the Yatagarasu key just like that. He never noticed that I had changed the key to a knife that tied that plastic bag. And he didn't have the chance to take near the knife that took his own life at my giant forehead. Literally, his forehead looks huge in that picture. Like Pearl Fay huge. How could you kill him? I knew him for a long time, you know. And at the very least, I thought to give him a quick and painless death. But if you killed Mr. Faraday first, there was no need for you to kill Mr. Rail as well.
That rhymed!
I believe I mentioned why when we were placing Detective Gumshoe under arrest. Something about having accidentally created an eyewitness. And how that led the killer to think about setting them up as though they killed each other.
And the trick with the surveillance tape.
Yes, I had actually planned to use a gun. The risk was too high that I'd be caught. However, that's when I remembered the existence of that surveillance tape. Which is why I had Rail help me set up the crime scene. And after all was said and done, I reward him for his hard work with a bullet.
You! You're a defense attorney, aren't you? How could you? How could you betray a client? You put my daddy's work to shame!
Client? If you want to talk about who was the client of who's first, it was me. I was the client who murdered... I was the client in the murder of the Candopian embassy staff member. Dead man!
You ordered a hit job?
You still haven't figured it out, Mr. Byrne. I had a dead man killed because he was about to give away info about the smuggling ring. Now, who exactly do you think would benefit from such an assassination?
It can't be. You're...
That's right, I'm a member of the smuggling ring.
What? How could this... You don't mean you're working with Manny Cochin too, don't you?
Maybe, maybe not. You guess you never know.
The Yatagarasu could be noble, but you're just another cold-blooded murderer.
That's right, little guy. The Yatagarasu is just another killer.
Be quiet, you. Yatagarasu! You can run from the law, but you'll never escape it. You will never escape from me. I'm Edgeworth. So just humbly accept the judgment of this court.
Hey, Edgeworth. Did you know the Yatagarasu has 3 legs? Do you know why that is? No? Well, let me just tell you. It means that the Yatagarasu is more than one razor sharp way to do her work. Godmother, effer! You really are too naive, Edgeworth. You even handed the Yatagarasu key right to me without a second thought. Everything may not have gone according to plan, but I'll still gladly take it.
You mean the key was your real target?
And even after I gave you such great advice, didn't I tell you to always keep a good eye on a criminal? Or you may regret what comes of your negligence.
You two, get down.
Eek! Oh!
My body! I can't move!
Hey, mister, do you right?
You! I owe you know. Sorry, couldn't keep myself. Just Edgeworth this epic duck. Are you alright, Franziska? I'm perfectly fine, Miles. Her voice is shaking, but it looks like she's unharmed. Where'd Kay go? That's a gunshot! Oh no, Kay killed you! September 10th, 7 p.m., District Court, courtroom number 3. Sorry, but it looks like she got away. I called the precinct. They should have a perimeter set soon. Detective Bad, are you alright? I heard a gunshot. I'm okay. Just got another hole in my jacket. He may say he's fine, but he looks quite shaken. But more importantly, boy, I mean Mr. Edgeworth, Miss Von Karma, are you two hurt? I'm absolutely fine. I'm also alright, thanks to the K. Speaking of K, where is she? I don't know. She just sort of disappeared. I'll go look for her. Oh, and hey, Detective Gumshoe.
Yes, soy! Detective Bad, soy!
I'm sorry I doubted you.
Don't worry, soy! It's not your fault! Well, I lied to you guys too, after all.
I heard what happened from Kay. Lying while giving testimony is still unforgivable. But in this case, you were protecting Kay and her feelings. Looks like you just might have what it takes to be a real detective. Now, don't you ever lose that detective spirit, okay?
You got it, Pops!
Pops! Watched one too many detective dramas recently, have we? Way to single-handedly destroy the cheery atmosphere with one snarky comment. I should get back to investigating. I swear, I'll catch you if it's the last thing I do. Be careful, Detective Bad, and take care. Thanks. Well, I'm off. Maybe we'll run into each other again someday.
Thanks a bunch, pal. You're the best. You really did find out the truth behind everything. You're my new god.
Well, yes, I'm glad we solved everything before you were taken to prison.
I can't believe how much trouble I caused you with my testimony, Detective Gumshoe.
I was no problem, really. I mean, I lied too, so I didn't help anything. It's really not your fault, Your Honor.
Well, even if we did have his honor's testimony, I think that lawyer would have found another way to get you convicted on her behalf.
Yeah, I can't believe I was about to get fired during my first week as a detective.
Well, so long as you're not fired, you should work hard, give all that you have, and perform your duties well. Otherwise, I will cut your pay in below the negatives. Oh, one more thing. Kay left a present for you with me.
She did? Ooh, what is it?
What was it that Kay left for me? The proof that of friendship. Prosecutor's badge! A gun for Gumshoe to die. A nice pen. Perfume.
Take that!
It's a courthouse special Swiss roll! Can I really have it?
Yes, it's a present meant for you after all.
Thanks a bunch! You have no idea how happy this makes me, pal. I'm gonna eat this right now!
Sure, go ahead. The Swiss roll Detective Gumshoe and Kay brought together, while the one Kay saved never reached her father. It would appear that her sentiments have touched the heart of this detective. He's so happy, it's as though he's having a welcome back celebration of his own. Well, I was asked by Kay to give it to him.
Whoop! That was good, pal! I can't believe I got to eat 2 of these delicious things in one day!
You didn't eat one, you had a half! And even then you dropped that half on the ground!
It's like I'm in a Swiss roll paradise or something!
Oh my gosh, now we're gonna have Swiss roll. Now in the CzarThwomp lore, we have Swiss roll heaven and Big Brother Leon hell.
I've got that K myself! Hey, wait, where is she?
You only just noticed now? Was his mind not present when we discussed her earlier? Detective Bad left to go search for her earlier. Maybe you should go join him.
Yeah, you betcha, pal! I'm gonna help him. Oh, but first, you know what, pal? I'm gonna make you my god! I will worship you! You will be my life from now on! Actually, I guess I shouldn't be so rude yet anymore, huh? I'm gonna stick right by your side from now on, Mr. Edgeworth, sorry!
And so the Gumshoe's cultish obsession began. I sensed nothing but our most troublesome relationship from that ominous statement. We should go home 2 miles. We have to hurry and report what is happening to Papa. Agreed. Well, I'm afraid we must be going now. And then when Edgeworth gets home, gets back to the house. So, Myers, how did your investigation go? Sir, the criminal got away. How did you let her get away? She tried to fire a gun at me, sir. I don't care. You take the bullet and you arrest her. That's what you do. and then Maverick gets over. What, Gant? Hey, man, I just want to call in. I heard there was a gunshot at the courthouse today. So, out of curiosity, any defense attorneys die? I heard Faraday died. There was a gunshot, Manny. All sorts of nasty things happened. Are you sure Faraday wasn't? Out of curiosity, was Faraday wearing his prosecutor's badge on his lapel again? Gant, this has nothing to do with that. Roger, sign. Don't you worry. I'll investigate the next case we're on real well. I'll be counting on you. The scent of trouble is definitely in the air. And then Edgeworth. Officer Bimbo! Thus, like a bad dream, my first outing at court came to a disturbing end. Only to her to resume when I got my first real case. Yeah, this basically is just why Edgeworth's life in his early court trial, his early career was just hell. First, he had this happening to him before his first trial. Then when he actually goes to court for the first time, the defendant kills himself on the stand. And then SL9 happens. Just a few months later, I was finally able to properly stand in court as a prosecutor. Granted, it was before a novice bimbo attorney, but I took what I got. But the detective in charge of the investigation was, as I dreaded, Detective Gumshoe. After that, he became my direct subordinate. I have tried, but words fail to describe the immeasurable suffering he has caused me. But I suppose that's just how things are. As for the little girl who suddenly disappeared, she's now... How long was Kay holding that thing out for? While she was doing this flashback.
So, do you remember now?
Yes, I remember everything. Kay, it's been a while. You kicked me. Kay, you sure grew up a lot.
Of course, but thank goodness. I thought you two had totally forgotten about me.
You know, I was really worried about you after all that. Where have you been all this time?
Yummy, I didn't know you cared. After my father died, I went to go live with my mother's relatives. They lived really far away, so I wasn't able to come back here all that much.
Oh, is that what happened? Well, I'm just glad you're right.
So, does that all make sense now?
You betcha it does.
Oh, but you know what? I was going through my father's bookshelves recently, and...
Hold it!
Actually, there are still a number of things that don't make sense, Kay. Oh, first of all, why did you come all this way to see me? And second, why are you calling yourself the Yatagarasu? The Yatagarasu is Callisto you, the woman who killed your father and tried to kill me.
No, you're wrong. The real Yatagarasu was my father.
Dum dum dum. But Mr. Fanny was the Yatagarasu. I should have been rushing his ass when he was yelling at me.
Like I said, I was going through my father's bookshelves recently, and I found a secret diary hidden amongst his books. I have no regret in choosing to walk the path of the Yatagarasu. That was written in his diary, and that's how I know for sure.
But that's impossible.
What's with that look? You don't believe me.
It wasn't just the expression on my face. I clearly said it was impossible just now.
Alright then, how are you explain this?
It's a way of disarming any security system of the user's choosing.
Yep, that's Little Thief. The truth be told, this is the Yatagarasu's great secret. And this little gizmo was used by my father.
Wow, Mr. Fanny was just a Yatagarasu. He was a great thief, huh?
Yeah, my father worked really hard to steal the truth. He was killed, and Yatagarasu was no more. Despite that, the Yatagarasu was spotted again recently.
Oh God, the cable is gonna kill me. Oh, my throat's all raised to someone other than you.
Here, Mr. Edgeworth. Take a look at this article.
Yatagarasu sends card embassy. The Yatagarasu sent the embassy a calling card.
Yeah, that means a person's a fake. I'm certain that Callisto Yule is behind this. He's the real Yatagarasu would never send something like a gaudy card out.
But the Yatagarasu did send a white card with anything to be publicized. That's what Detective Bad told me 7 years ago, if memory serves.
Well, as soon as I heard the news, I got wound up and I knew I just couldn't let go. So I searched you out so that I could obtain the truth behind the Yatagarasu. Because if anyone can help me find it, I figured it was you, Mr. Edgeworth. I could kick you again.
So you're saying I have your father misuse identities backwards?
Yes, because the real Yatagarasu is noble to the end. I want to retrieve the real noble. I want to revive the real noble Yatagarasu. If I don't, my father will never be able to rest in peace.
Okay.
Kay, you're so honorable. I don't care what anyone says. Always be there to cheer you on, pal.
Even if you are honorable, a thief is a thief is a thief is a thief is a thief. And if you are ploying to commit a crime, then I'm afraid I can't be complicit.
Mr. Edgeworth, you guys are not making it easy for me. Who am I throwing to the board now? What am I saying? I have to support Mr. Edgeworth. He's my god.
Mr. Edgeworth, what I want from you is not to steal something. What I want is the rest of that evil woman.
That evil woman? You mean Callisto, you?
I think it's too hard for me to catch her all by myself. I thought that since you were able to expose her for who she is, then maybe. Please, Mr. Edgeworth, won't you help me?
Come to think of it, I do believe I owe you.
Huh? Owe me for what?
When Miss Yu made her escape, it was you who saved my life. Furthermore, you helped me with the investigation today. I am not so rude as to leave favors unrepaid.
Then you mean?
Yes, that case has been weighing down my soul ever since that fateful day. Perhaps the time has come to settle things once and for all. If you don't intend to soil your hands in a crime, then I believe I can help.
Mr. Edgeworth, thank you!
Yeah, Mr. Edgeworth, sorry. Isn't he great, Kay?
Yeah, it sure is, Gummy.
Even though
he had completely forgotten about her until now. What is with that coming relationship? The great thief Yatagarasu and the case that never ends! After all that time, the true identity of the thief stank back into the darkness. Byrne Faraday, Callisto Yu, and Kay Faraday. The phantasmagorical changing identity of the great thief Yatagarasu, and the Yatagarasu's real goal. It would all come to light the day after I made that promise to Kay. Okay, the end. New episode, the final episode. Turnabout Ablaze. Yeah, we're already to the end. No, I don't want to save the game up until this point. Actually, yeah, I'll save the game. I'll save the game later. I'll do one more episode and then I'll call it a day. Anyways, there's Gumshoe, Turnabout Reminiscence. Now, anyways, I think that now would be definitely a good time to end things off. I really appreciate that you stick around to watch this episode, your great viewer, and I hope you come back for the next one. If you like this video, like, subscribe, comment, share, do whatever you want. And with that, I'll see you later. Bye.